We start today a series of messages taken from the section of the Gospel according to John known as the Upper Room Discourses. The scholars, when they study the parts of the Bible, the New Testament, they see groups, they see a collection of sayings or stories that share something in common, such as the location where given. Thus, though this is not part of the inspired text, in some translations you will have a notation about these passages that begin in the 13th chapter and go through the end of the 17th chapter as the Upper Room Discourses. This collection of teachings was delivered to the disciples in the upper room after the Lord's Supper, after having shared the Passover, after Jesus had washed their feet, after Jesus had revealed the traitor Judas among them, and after Judas had left for the night. Jesus knew what he had before him. He had, as usual, the facts well in hand. In verse 1 of chapter 13, Jesus says that he knew his hour had come. His hour. This had been Jesus' choice words throughout the Gospel of John to refer to his passion, his cruel death upon the cross. His awareness of this hour had been with him from the beginning of his earthly ministry. At the wedding feast in Canaan, some 3 years earlier, he had said this to his mother. He said to her, "My hour has not yet come." In chapter 7, verse 30 of John, and in chapter 8, verse 20 of John, on two separate occasions, the Jews tried to arrest him, but they could not. And the reason Jesus gave was because his hour had not yet come. But in chapter 12, verse 27, a group of Greek-speaking Jews came to him wanting to speak with him. And surprisingly, Jesus' response to that request was sadness. He was saddened, and he said these words, "What shall I say? Father, save me from this hour, but for this purpose I came to this hour." And now in chapter 13, in the upper room with his disciples, he announces, "The hour has come." Jesus knew from the beginning of his ministry that his life was headed toward the cross. After sending Judas out into the night to complete his traitorous destiny, Jesus spends the next few hours alone with his disciples in the upper room. Matthew, Mark, and Luke only tell us about the Last Supper and Judas going out into the night. John completely skips the meal and tells us nothing about it. Instead, tells us about Jesus washing his disciples' feet. And then John remembers for us what Matthew, Mark, and Luke either forgot or just didn't think important. He remembers the last instructions that Jesus gave to his disciples. You see, the first part of John is public. It's full of controversy. And it reveals to us, uniquely in John's Gospel, the person of Jesus Christ. But in the upper room discourses, the discussion is private. It's just Jesus and his disciples. He is full of confidence about what is going to happen and what God is going to do. And what is revealed is the passion of our Lord Jesus Christ. In the course of these chapters, chapter 13 through chapter 17, there are four major themes revealed. A new commandment, a new coming, a new commission,